We have Brett. Hi, Brett.
Hi.
Haven't seen or heard or well, where have you been, man?
The baby took over my life.
A baby took over your life.
They
Imagine
do
having
that.
imagine having something that is no bigger than a bread box that controls everything you do.
The worst STD of all time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Babies.
Yeah. Yeah. And your life sort of revolves around that. It's like, okay, you want to go somewhere? It's not, okay, I'm just gonna get in the car and I'm gonna go there. No, I'm gonna have to get an entire, you know, supply truck of stuff to take them to go there, and then you're there, and then they decide to have a hissy fit and shit themselves, and it's like being with a drunk frat party member at all times, because
Well,
they freak out for no reason, they shit themselves, they spit up. It's great.
The girl place.
or it's like playing
Mm.
Oregon Trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone
No matter
had a
what you
case
do,
of
you're screwed.
dysentery.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, you'll never look at prepared mustard the same.
Uh,
Oh no,
Now I know
no.
everything.
Mm. Thought I'd just bring that out there, just so everybody knows. So the next time you're eating that sandwich, you can go, oh,
So Brett's a dad now.
yeah. Life as we know it is over.
Yeah,
Have you
basically.
been have you been playing any video games though?
No.
No?
Well, okay, not quite true. I have been playing Disney Infinity.
Hey, wait, Dan,
Nice.
didn't you buy that?
No, no, I wanted to.
Right,
It's
right.
That's cool though.
it's actually not bad.
Yeah,
Um, I just
makes
there's
sense
some
to me.
stifling complaints about it, and I'm hoping they'll solve that with Disney Infinity 2, which apparently is coming. Rumor Star Wars, which like totally I'm like, yeah, Star
Also,
Wars.
Marvel's going to be rumored to
Well,
be.
here's my only comment: Darth Vader versus uh, uh, Woody from Toys R Us. Come on,
Right.
wouldn't that just be awesome?
Yeah.
Darth
Or
Vader
Elsa
versus
from
Mickey
Frozen.
Mouse.
Yeah, I think that would be the most awesome thing in the world. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The fact that you can only play, like, there's like the Cars world, and there's the Pirates of the Caribbean world, and there's the Monsters High University world. But the only problem is you can only use the characters from that world in that world. So the only time you can sort of have a mishmash is when you play in the toy box. And unless you spend hours in the toy box, basically playing equivalent of Minecraft to design a huge world to play in, it's kind of boring. So, when Rowan wants to play Elsa from Tangled, and we can't go into any other worlds. Like, we can't go into the Cars world, we can't go into the Pirates of the Caribbean world, we can't do any of that stuff. We're kind of stuck in the toy
Yeah.
box,
Defeats
which
the purpose of certain characters at all, you know.
it does. It's a real limitation of the game, and I think Disney has realized that. And rumor has it Infinity 2, when that comes out, is going to resolve a lot of those issues. I hope, because
Yeah.
if they do, I mean, as the game is, it's good. I mean, it's got everything it needs there to be an awesome game. And the one thing is, it's a freaking marketing genius. I was like, I got the game for $29 at Costco. I was like, oh, $29, let's buy it. And then I realized, oh wait, now I got to buy a secondary pack of all these characters, and I've got to buy this, and I got to buy.
The power
So my
coins. Don't forget the power
got
coins.
to buy the power coins.
Got to get limited
So
edition #1 as well.
yeah, exactly. The $30 game I bought very quickly, like we're talking within a week, cost me $125.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
Bamboozle.
Exactly. It's like, get that wallet out, because, oh, you want the Cars world? Guess what? You got to buy the Cars pack, $34. Boom. Oh, you want to play two characters in the same world? Oh, guess what? You got to buy each individual character for those worlds, or you can buy the pack for $29. Boom. Oh, you want to buy some cool things to add some features? You got to buy a pack of cards. Boom. Oh, you got to have the Frozen characters because your daughter is a or stepdaughter's a freaking nut about Frozen. Boom, you got to buy the Frozen characters. It's just like, holy shit, this adds up fit quick.
I
So
thought Skylanders was bad.
yeah, she's interested in Skylanders, and I'm just scared.
So you got it for the Xbox 360?
I got it for the PS3 because the PS3 makes the most sense for me. It's the best system I've got in the house. The Xbox, the online thing, paying, just to me is wrong.
Yeah, good
I'm with
call.
you on that one.
Party is just like, I don't want to pay a monthly fee.
Right. Well, that's great. At least someone I know has actually purchased Disney Infinity. Um,
I
Yeah,
the
yeah,
but he
game
has kids, so he has, a valid
I
reason.
am a kid.
Yeah, Dan, I'm surprised you haven't bought it. Really,
Oh, I was close, man. I was really close.
You know what? If you could pick it up for $30, I honestly, I'd wait for Infinity 2 because if it comes out and has any of the Star Wars stuff in it, that is going to be the most awesome game ever. Can you imagine building an entire world of Star Wars and going nuts with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and all that shit? That'd be freaking awesome.
And Mike Wazowski, that'd be amazing.
Exactly, that'd be awesome. Come on,
Yep.
Who wouldn't want to see Iron Man versus Darth Vader?
I mean, that alone is like, you gotta admit that does something to me. Like, guys, come on. You're with Nelson? Yeah?
Huh?
Iron Man versus Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Come on. Right there. That's right there. It's just awesome.
Come on.
I just want to use Darth Vader to kill Mickey Mouse. That's fulfilling a childhood prophecy right there.
Well, unfortunately, the game is designed in a way that you cannot kill anybody. You can knock them off the world and have them respawn to the respawn, but there's no actual killing because it's kids game. That'd be bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost the same.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not the same, unfortunately. I really wanted to kill people occasionally in the game, but it's only because Rowan was being completely and totally stupid.
Oh.
She's a great girl, but sometimes it's like, God, you're killing me.
Anything else you've been playing?
No. Actually, I just bought Batman Arkham Origins.
Me too.
For the
$10.
Well, $15 if you want to buy all the extras too, which I decided, oh, what the hell, it for that price there, it was kind of worth the price of admission. So,
and
I
mean,
that
game
like
wasn't
at $10.
Go ahead.
I feel like at $10, that's a pretty decent buy. I think anything more than that is way too much for that game.
Yeah, well, I paid $15 to get the extras just because I thought, well, what the hell, extras are always cool.
It's strange though, because that hasn't been out very long, has it?
It's been out a year.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah,
okay.
About a year.
No, I don't think it's been that long.
Yeah, it came out. Well, maybe not quite a year. It was, I want to say, maybe July-ish last year or something like that.
October 25th.
Was it October? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that soon. Well, obviously,
it
didn't do as well as they thought.
Yeah, it didn't get great critical reviews. I think across the board, it was seen as being fairly lackluster.
73 was about the rating that I saw, the Metascore, as I figured.
It's also referred to as the bad Batman game.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be vindicated this October when Arkham Knight comes out, and I only have one word to say to make that game awesome. Batmobile. Done. Win.
Yeah, 6 months for a very, very steep discount. I mean, I guess their sales weren't all that great or something, but I don't care. Now I can actually use the strategy guide book that my older sister got me for my birthday. Woohoo! I owned that before the actual game, so
that's how they get you.
Get you with a strategy guide.
It'll still be months before I actually play the game, but yeah, at least now I have it, and I know I didn't pay a lot for it.
I'm just excited that Kevin Conroy is coming back for Arkham Knight.
Fuck yeah!
Because
yeah, that's worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll bring back any of the other voice talents.
Hamill has said he has no indication of doing the Joker voice anymore. So I don't know if we're going to see that. But I mean, it's not like the Batman world isn't full of really cool bad guys that you could use. I mean, yes, the Joker is the go-to bad guy, but you don't always have to have the Joker.
I don't think he's going to be in the new game based on the ending of Arkham City.
Well, they kind of ended it there. So,
well, this is also going to be the last Rocksteady game as well, so it doesn't really matter.
Hey, Nelson.
Yo.
What have you been playing?
Fuck all. I mean,
video games?
Yeah, I basically the whole week I've been playing Broforce.
I saw you playing that.
Dude, that game's fun. Actually,
fun.
I recorded a Let's Play, or not a Let's Play. What did I name it? I gave it a special name. A quick review playthrough.
That's catchy.
Yeah, I was trying to upload it today, but my internet's so bad that 2 gigs. I got to 60% after 5 hours of uploading. 2 gigs.
Clearly not a Shaw customer.
No, TELUS. They're the. But
and not even like real TELUS. Like it's the whatever they call it, TELUS Starter or TELUS Lite.
No. I just have like a normal TELUS package. Like I think they're second tier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I did a speed test and I was like, really? We're paying how much a month for that? No.
It's craptacular.
Oh God. But yeah, Broforce, I've been digging deep into that. I've been having quite a bit of fun. Um, I've actually that's one of the few games that I've replayed numerous times, even with all the characters unlocked. It's fun because you just pick it up, you blow people away, you pause, and you close the game, and that's that. And then hours later, when you want to play some games again, boom.
Yeah.
I also played some Spelunky because I've been watching a lot of Will Smith from Tested play Spelunky, and I was like, Brian likes it, Will's playing it. It doesn't look that hard. No, it's still really hard.
Yeah, it does look hard. It looks ridiculously hard.
Yeah,
it's fair though. It's one of those games that
fair.
Yeah, you never feel that you're being cheated out of a life or a run in that game. It's always like, why did I do that?
exactly.
Not like, oh, stupid game, I hate you. No, it's just, I'm so dumb. I should have been more patient. Or, yeah,
exactly. So that's all I've been playing. What about Spencer? Spencer, what have you been playing?
I'm still chipping away at Bravely Default.
Wow, really?
Cool. Wow.
Yeah, that game, it's funny, I get distracted with it, and I'll be like, oh, I want to try this character class out that I haven't touched, and then, equip that job on someone and go level it up a bit and try out the abilities. And so I've gotten really sidetracked and just screwing around with my character builds, and haven't progressed the plot at all in the last week and a half. But I also find that I've been playing it in short bursts, like an hour or two here or there.
That's short.
Throughout the week. Yeah. So that's short. When I first got that game, I did the first night I played it, I think I played for 6 hours straight.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
So basically, you're getting your money's worth out of that game, and then some.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's the best Final Fantasy game that's come out in over a decade.
For sure.
And I'd say it's probably the only good Final Fantasy game to come out in over a decade.
I agree with that.
So that's pretty cool. And then I tried out Hearthstone a little bit. And
is that out of beta?
Yeah, it is out of beta now. It's been free for a while, but now they've ditched the beta label. And it's a typical Blizzard game. It's very polished. It's very well designed. They have a great sort of way of easing you into it.
That's the card game, right?
Yeah, it's the card game, and that's where I lost my interest in it. It's got some pretty the rules of the game are very simple and very easy to pick up, and the actual card games itself are quite fun. But I just have no interest in the whole deck building, and to me, I never liked Magic for that very reason. Is the deck building and the collecting part just was not at all interesting, and I'm finding exactly the same problem with this game. I'm not interested in building decks. I'm not interested in the collectible nature of cards. And, very quickly I found myself just uninstalling it. I was like, this is not for me. But if you're into that style of game, if you enjoy Magic, you probably find it a lot of fun. I found the game itself to be quite fun. The matchmaking is typical Blizzard, and it's really well put together. So it tends to match you with people who are at the same skill level, which is pretty cool.
I'd be cool if I could game against you. If we were just having a quick game, and can you actually pick who you play against?
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, it's if my old StarCraft 2 friends all popped up online the second I logged in because it's just linked into Battle.net. So anyone I added using Real ID to World of Warcraft or StarCraft 2 or Diablo all just showed up on my list right away. Or Diablo 3. Yeah. Anyway, they all just showed up on my list. And I noticed a ton of my friends that I didn't even realize were playing that game had it and were actively playing it throughout the day. I think a lot of people were playing it at work because, yeah,
nice.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah, it looks good. I've been following the quick looks on it. I like certain builds. There's actually some pretty cool killer builds, but there's always a tic-tac-toe sort of mechanic there. So. Yeah,
it does have a bit of that rock paper scissors where certain classes are really good against other classes and vice versa. But like I said, I was not good at that game. I played for a few hours and I think I got the mechanics down, but I just didn't care enough about the different character types to really dig into it. That was an interesting one.
Cool. I'm just going to quickly add Brian here. 1 second.
Okay.
Hooray.
This is the full, we got everybody here.
You're going to use the special add Brian button?
Yep. I've got it mapped to my one key. Hi, Brian.
Did somebody hit the add Brian button?
We
hit the add Brian buttle.
Got it.
Oh, okay. The lights started going off here, so I figured I better respond immediately.
It's like the bat signal, except it's a picture of Brian.
We have everybody here.
Everybody's here.
This chaos. This is awesome. What else have you been playing, Spencer?
More Steel Divers Sub Wars.
Yeah.
That's about it. That game is awesome. If you guys have a 3D, you fucking get it. It's so good.
You say the word sub and Dan's like, I'm totally on board.
I am a sub nerd.
Yeah, you are.
All the sub games. Yeah.
I would have.
What was your comment about that one? Was 3 hours to get where you want to be just to be taken out by a destroyer?
Yeah.
Fun.
Pretty much. That's Silent Hunter 3.
Yeah.
I used to love those games.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're all up on Steam now, aren't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. Including the Buggy as Hell one, Part 5.
You know, a game I'd like to see make a comeback is was it Romance of the Three Kingdoms games? Those ones were always fun. Hours spent whittling away on those games.
Those are fun.
Yes, those were great games. I actually have a long box copy of 4 for the PlayStation 1.
Huh.
Like in the big old cardboard boxes that PS1 games came in.
Oh yeah, way back in the day.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a multi-plat too. That one came out on the Super Nintendo as well. To give you an idea of how big of an overlap, like how early the PlayStation entered the market, is its direct competitor was the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Those are the days. Hey, Brian.
Hey.
What have you been playing?
What have I been playing?
Video games?
What have I been playing? Here and there. Let me just see here. Still working on Far Cry 3.
Okay.
I'm in the home stretch on that one. Yeah, the thing that pisses me off about that game is that it doesn't let you save when you're in a mission.
No.
So when you get into the middle of a mission, it automatically disables the save function, and you kind of, if you need to go do something or something like that, you kind of just have to leave it running. So that's why it's been running for most of the day today, because I've been out doing stuff, and basically I got back and I realized, oh yeah, Far Cry 3 is still running in the background.
How far are you into that game?
I'm in the home stretch. I've taken over all of the outposts except for 2, I think. I'm on the South Island. Just doing the mission where you find the traitors in that PMC organization, and you're going to present the list of the guys who are traitors to the guy that you're eventually going to try and kill. Still enjoying that game a lot. It's a lot of fun, but I think I'm just about ready to put a pin in it and put it on my finished games list, and then move on to Blood Dragon after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the gameplay on that one?
It's great. I mean, it's one of the better first-person shooters that I've ever played. It's just in terms of the feel, like it's a wide open world, and I really like that. It's like you get a mission, you just point your compass towards it and start running through the jungle, and I haven't, there are vehicles and stuff like that. I haven't really used much of them. There's millions and millions of collectibles, and I really haven't gone down that rabbit hole very much yet. But
don't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Don't go down that rabbit hole.
I mean, I basically advanced each one of the kind of collection things far enough to get the unique weapon that you unlock when you get like halfway through them. And the rest of them are just kind of a completionist thing, so I don't think I'm ever going to do that.
The only thing I found worthwhile was like the hunting thing, just so you get like the pouch that allowed you to carry enough ammunition to really fuck people shit up.
Okay. This is one of the reasons why I like this game, is because it really taps into my the way I play games. Like if you give me a game that has quests in it, and you have like story quests and side quests, I'm the kind of person who exhausts every single side quest I can possibly do before advancing the story quests. Like the only way to get me to do more story quests is if there is no side quest left to do at all.
I'm kind of the same.
Yeah.
So I know your pain.
Yeah, I went through and I did all of those hunting quests right off the bat. I went out and hunted down all the animals that I needed for the ones up to like the unique animals that you had to hunt and stuff like that. I did all of that stuff. I had all of that done before I was even halfway through the first island. So and
what do you think about hunting sharks? Ugh.
Yeah, it's not too hard if you find a boat that you can stand on. You find a boat that you can stand on. You pop one of those syringes that lets you see all the animals in an area. You drive around in the boat until you see a bunch of sharks, and then you just get your bow out and you wait for them to come near, and you zap them in the head. The most dangerous part of the whole thing was going into the water to get the skins. Because if you're in an area with a lot of sharks, then you don't really want to be swimming around that much.
Yeah.
So, and the sharks of course sink when you kill them, so you end up having to swim down to the bottom and skin a shark, and then hopefully get back up to the surface before you drown. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I've got all the unique weapons. I've got all the craftable stuff has all been made, and yeah, I'm just running out the story at this point. So,
the one thing I found about that game is he went for, like, in Tomb Raider, you got that sort of reluctance. She didn't really want to kill people as she have to, but as the game really progressed, she was like, okay, fuck you, I'm going to kill you all, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Sorry, clean. Should make this clean a little cleaner. But that Far Cry, I found it was like,
Yeah,
okay, I've
fuck
killed
that.
a person. Yeah, it's like He's like, he kills one person, and then he's later on, you hear him going, yeah, get some.
Yeah.
He goes a little too Full Metal Jacket in that game, a little too quickly for my liking.
Yeah,
but I mean,
I was kind of expecting something a little more from the story, because these guys, the people that you start the game with, they're all such a bunch of douchebags. It's like I was kind of expecting maybe a little more development along those lines. Like I was kind of thinking maybe you actually are Voss, and it was just kind of a dual personality thing, and you were just kind of striking out at these people because you hate them so much. But maybe I was, putting too much of myself into it. It's kind of hard when you start off the game playing as a guy who's basically a privileged asshole who goes to like a uncharted island in the South Pacific to do some wingsuit flying and shit like that. It's like, I don't know. And he's going back to a job in Hollywood or something like that. It's just like, I kind of hope these people get, turned into pirate sex slaves or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is very realistic about pirates, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Pirate sex slaves all the time.
I thought the character of Voss is really interesting. I thought that was, it was well done, but I kind of expected him to stick around for a little more of the game, quite frankly.
Yeah, I was super disappointed by how they handled that particular thing, reducing it to this ridiculous quick time event, and that to me was, I think it's in a negative tone for the whole second half of the game for me, where I was kind of like, well, the best character in the game is not in the picture anymore, and I don't care about Mighty Whitey, who I'm playing as.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't really get that though, because you get stabbed in that quick time event. You get stabbed right in the chest. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm dead then. And then it just kind of goes to this dream sequence, and all of a sudden I'm fine again.
Yeah.
And I was like,
little stabbing. You're fine. You walk.
I saw a knife go a good 8 inches into the dead center of my chest in that cutscene. I'm not sure what happened there, but then, the next thing you know, you're stabbing him to death. And I was like, okay, sure. Why not?
Cough, cough, true detective cough.
Yeah, I guess. Played a bit more Demon Souls. What else? Let me just look at my list here. What have I played this week?
You played all the games.
I'm still playing Spelunky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Installed Super Meat Boy and then played Super Meat Boy for like 10 minutes and then realized that I don't think Super Meat Boy is really a game that's meant for me.
Yeah, I found that out too.
I don't possess the motor skills necessary to make that game work.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You play Spelunky.
I know. That's the thing. I thought, well, I should play Super Meat Boy now, and I tried playing it, and I felt, like those videos that they show where they have some tribesman who's never seen technology before, and they sit him down in front of a Pac-Man machine or something like that.
So in other words, you're just smashing at it with a rock.
Yeah, I didn't
Angrily.
get it. I just did not get it. I couldn't make it work. So I don't know. I might go back and try that one again. I didn't uninstall it, but I want to like it because I have a lot of love for a lot of Edmund McMillan's other stuff. Like, a lot of his Flash games and stuff like that. I love Binding of Isaac, but for some reason Meat Boy it doesn't. I don't feel like I get it.
I found that game had a little bit of input lag for me, and it really made it frustrating to play because it demands such precision. And having even that, it's very minuscule, but there is definitely something going on where there is a disconnect between what I'm inputting and what is happening on the screen.
Yeah.
That I found really frustrating. And I started getting used to it at a certain point, but after a while, I just ended up giving up.
Right. And I finished my second playthrough of XCOM Enemy Unknown.
Oh, your second playthrough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what,
the Enemy Within playthrough. So.
right. So why two? Was there two different modes you could go?
Well, the DLC, the Enemy Within DLC, was added in between my playthroughs. So yeah, I
Okay.
basically finished it. I finished it with the mech suits and the Gene soldiers and stuff like that. So.
So how different is that with the DLC?
The ending, or
Like just the game itself?
The game itself is quite different. They add in a third faction. You're fighting basically human sympathizers, like people who think the aliens coming is a good thing, and they want to try and help them take over the world.
For one, welcome, my new alien overlords.
Exactly, exactly. And the troops you have are different too, because you can. We've talked about this in other podcasts, but you basically got the ability to gene mod or cybernetically enhance your soldiers in this one, and that makes a big difference to how they play. Like, I had this one guy who was gene modded, and he had this ability called mimetic skin, which means that if he was not in sight to the aliens at the beginning of his turn and he moved, he was cloaked. So this guy was a sniper. And he basically could move from cover to cover completely unseen. He would get high cover bonuses no matter what cover he was in. And he could shoot twice every round. And he was, with a plasma sniper rifle, he was literally killing like boss characters in like 2 or 3 hits. I mean, it was nuts.
Wow.
It almost sounds like Crisis 3 a little bit, the mimetic skin.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he also, when he killed something, he would emit a pheromone burst that would improve the combat effectiveness of anybody around him. So,
wow,
nice.
I mean, this guy was an absolute destruction machine, but he ended up taking the loss for humanity at the end of the series.
That always torques me when you lose some of your best guys. You get emotionally attached to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think we need to put a spoiler warning on XCOM or something like that. But the way the last mission works, you have to choose to sacrifice one of your guys, basically.
Okay.
Like they have to take the alien ship that's about to turn into a black hole and fly it out of the Earth's atmosphere, basically. And he was the one who ended up doing that. So
you kind of miss his kill stink, don't you?
I do miss. I do miss that murderous funk he had about him. Yes.
Having not played the game that much, could you name the characters?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No. Well, then it would be either you would be Brian or Dan that I would have sent to their doom.
Oh, thanks, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, I always named it for people I knew, and then I was always upset when you guys died. Dan usually died doing something incredibly stupid.
Well, that's true to life. Yeah.
Well, when it happened in game, I wasn't usually surprised.
You always gave me the shotgun, didn't you?
Shotgun or something like that. Yeah.
Now, you're supposed to give them funny names. That way, when they die, you're like, no, not Dick Butt.
No.
Yeah.
I like to see my friends die.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I've been playing this week. So.
Cool. I've been playing the Wii Fit U. I say play because you're not actually going to get fit in this thing.
I dispute that claim.
Yeah, you know someone who's.
Yeah, my ex. She lost 30 pounds by just playing exclusively Wii Fit.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow,
keep it up, Dan. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you'll be one of those swole fit bros.
Yeah, maybe.
You might lose some weight, but you're not going to put on muscle doing that.
And then you got to start doing milk carton curls in front of the mirrors, going, "Oh, I feel so tight."
Swole. I feel swole. But yeah, I got all the my controllers that I ordered that were the refurbs. Really good deal. They finally came in, so I'm doing all that now.
Cool.
Cardio part of it. So I don't know. I'm going to keep it up, but.
Do it, man.
Yeah, it's not gonna, it's not gonna make me ripped.
No. But
that's what squats are for.
Yeah.
Get a job working outside where you carry ladders and have a child. Trust me, the weight will just fall off.
Every day is leg day.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Been playing the Wii Fit U.
Are we all waiting for a certain game to come out in May? Because there's a certain game coming out in May that I know I've got a kid. I know I have to look after them, but I've already told my fiance I am playing this game when it comes out.
What game is that?
I was
Watch
interested
Dogs.
in it, but
yeah, I was just going to mention Watch Dogs. Have you been watching any of the preview plays? It looks absolutely incredible.
Dog?
Incredible's not the word I want to use. It looks fucking fantabulous.
Yeah.
Have you been watching it, Dog?
I've been watching it. Dog.
I don't know. I've kind of lost my my desire to pick that game up.
It's not
there
for
was.
you.
We discussed that last week.
I
No,
know.
it's just like there was so much hype for it, and then too long of a gap between when they were hyping it and when it's being released. And I don't know. I've got a whole bunch of other games that I want to play first, so I'll just wait for it to go on sale.
Like Goat Simulator
for this thing. Yeah, Goat Simulator, of course.
First day
VR
purchase.
for this thing though, it's crazy. Like they started out with everybody slathering at the mouth to try and get this thing. Then there was a delay, and then now it seems like they're really trying to manage expectations. Like everything that comes out is not as flashy or showy or anything like that. It just seems like, I don't know. This went from kind of a must purchase to kind of a wait and see kind of thing for me.
I've seen some screenshots of it, or some some screenshots of other things they found in the game. There's like, I don't know, mecha T-Rex and stuff like that, and mechanized spiders and shit. I'm like, I really hope that's not in the game, because that would be really strange.
The
gameplay through I saw where you could look into other people's lives and sometimes find missions by doing that. Yeah. I like that, and the fact that one thing they touted is they said if you're playing it on the PC, you're going to have more of an interactive environment because the PC can handle all the things it's going to throw at it. And that's what I kind of like, is like they've basically said, look, it's going to be great on the other things. It's going to be awesome on a PS4. It's going to be awesome on an Xbox One. It'll be okay on a PS3, and it's going to be okay on a 360. But your bread and butter, where you're going to want to play the game, is going to be on the PC, because that is where they can use everything to advantage, and you're going to have a highly populated city where there are going to be lots of things going on and people interacting with things and making it more of a realistic environment. That to me is like, hey, if you're pandering to a PC player, thank you.
And if you own a Wii or Wii U, too bad.
Yeah. Wait till next year.
Maybe.
Is this an Xbone PS4 release, or are they doing this for 360 PS3?
360 PS3, all of them, basically everything.
Everything except for Wii and Wii U.
Yep.
Although
I think the original Wii was
shots fired.
Yeah.
You can get Dr. Mario on Wii U Virtual Console now.
And you can get Dr. Luigi on the eShop.
Yeah.
Huh?
So
don't let either one of them touch you. They're not real doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they ask you to take off your pants, just you can walk out of the door. Yeah, it's okay.
I usually stay at that point. It's like, oh, well, this is getting interesting.
Are we ready to talk about news? I think we got some news that we can talk about real quick.
We do indeed.
Let's talk first and foremost, and this is a little bit old now, but about Facebook buying the Oculus Rift. So a lot of people are upset about this. Notch, the person who made Minecraft, went on to say very publicly that he's backing out. He said that the Facebook has never been about a gaming development platform. It's always been about clicks and social engineering, never about a game. So,
well, Brian put it best when he said, Facebook was basically going, we need something techie and cool. Hey, let's buy them.
This move just makes sense for Facebook. If they want to get out on the ground floor of that kind of thing, it makes sense to have something in house.
Although, did you hear that the Twinbeard, or whatever, the creator of Fraud Factions 2, for one of the Kickstarter stretch goals, if they get up to $2 billion, they're going to buy Oculus VR back from Facebook.
Now, Facebook is already a simulacrum of social interaction. Why not take it to the next level, right?
Yeah.
Like Facebook.
Well, people are pretty upset about the fact that this was all generated by. It was all done by, it was all pre-orders. So nobody actually. There's no actual money here. It's all been pre-valued. So a lot of people are canceling their pre-orders for the Oculus Rift, and so Facebook is pretty much buying vaporware at this point. So
honestly,
it's the
I don't
idea.
care anymore.
Yeah, they bought the idea basically. They bought some legitimacy in this kind of sphere. That's pretty much where their money went.
Well, they're also buying up the tech and talent. I mean, that's the big thing. Like you get Carmack all of a sudden. I mean, that guy's a fucking genius, and you get all the people to put this together. You basically just get a whole pile of tech, and this isn't a finished product yet. They got a new revision of the dev kit coming out soon, but at the end of the day, like this is nowhere near a finished product. What we see being sent out to developers is probably very different from what the retail product will be. But now there's questions about whether or not this will be an open platform, because you have Cliff Bleszinski talking about, and he's a major stakeholder in Oculus, talking about how he always envisioned it as being an ecosystem of its own, not an accessory. In fact,
Right.
he showed quite a bit of disdain for the idea of this being like a peripheral. He wants it to be a platform, and he's talking about Facebook building a marketplace for it, which might be a nail in the coffin for it as a gaming device, because I don't think gamers are going to want to have a separate headset for every game they play. They're not going to want the Origin headset for EA games and the Steam headset for Steam games. And
obviously not. Yeah, I don't know. It's too early to say at this point, but time will tell how this shakes down.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's that news. What else is news? The Goat Simulator. If you advance order right now, you get it 4 days early. There you go.
Play it right now.
Right now. If
you can lick things.
You can ram things. You can have like goat rockets. Why is that news? I don't know.
I don't know.
I hope they make a lot of money off that game. I really do. I hope they just
I sincerely do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too.
They deserve it.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of games coming up. That's all the news that I have right now.
We got a bunch of stuff on our Google Plus page if you want to talk about any of that.
Yeah.
I just heard that PayPal has a if you go to PayPal/gaming sale, they have a spring gaming sale going on right now. Fucking PayPal selling video games.
Huh.
Yeah. It's strange.
That is a strange world we live in now.
Closing that window. Did you hear that some companies have been reselling the Steam keys that they got from their Humble Bundles?
That's not good. That's not the spirit of it.
No. So 7 Entertainment is updating their terms to prohibit the resale of Humble Bundle Steam keys, or keys in general.
Their terms of service already says it's for the purchaser. You're not supposed to give those keys out. It's sort of on the honor system right now, but
yeah. It's just sad that some scumbags decide to just retailer scam resells Humble Bundle games, reaps profit off charity, and that's some bullshit. So they got to update their crap to basically make it so they can't resell them Steam keys. It's sad.
Yeah, that's bad. That's just really bad. Bad form.
Yeah, I think they'll probably force you to link your Steam account from now on, which is fine.
I had to last time.
I thought they do.
Last bundle I bought, so.
Yeah, I think they have actually forced, like they want your Humble account linked to your Steam account. The stuff these days, when you hit a button, it basically just appears on your Steam list. You don't have to put in codes or anything like that. So
yeah. So there's over 1,000 new indie developers licensed to release on PS4. I don't know if you guys saw the Google Plus post, but basically Sony is putting some heavy stock into indie game developers these days.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they've got at least over 1,000 people just itching to get the games on the PS4s. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good market for them to court. I think they can make a lot of headway in that space.
They've gone from being known as a company that was difficult to deal with, a company that was difficult to develop for. Like their PlayStation 3 was notorious, especially upon launch. Their dev kits didn't work. The documentation wasn't there. It was nearly impossible. Like you talk to any developer who worked on the PlayStation 3 in the first year, and they said it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And how they've gone from this awful piece of hardware to this very common platform. It's x86, tons of documentation. They have like entire support teams that are available to help developers out. Like they've gone from being probably the worst company to develop for to being this super developer friendly, like very forward thinking company in a matter of months. Like
it's great
all around the PS4 date, and that's PS4 release date, and that is awesome to hear. And they've got some great policies too. Like cross-buy is something I'd love to see on Nintendo systems. Buy it once, play it on all of your systems.
Oh yeah,
but, it's worked out. It's worked out well for them. I mean, you try finding a PS4 in stores.
Yeah.
Everybody's buying that. You can get an Xbox 360 by walking into pretty much anywhere, or an Xbox One. But try finding a PS4. PS4. Good luck. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
They've set the precedent. They've said, I think when it comes to next gen consoles, they're kind of winning right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's a good idea. Is get the game developers on board, get the guys that make the cool little games. Make it easy for them to make games for your platform. It sells. Look at Steam.
For
They're
sure.
in a sense, almost what they're doing is they're creating a Steam-like model. And can we honestly say Steam doesn't work?
Yeah,
if you could look me in the straight face and say Steam doesn't work, then you're crazy because they got most of my money.
I think they're hoping. I don't know. This seems just to sort of look at the flip side of the coin. This does seem like a bit of a reactive move, though. I think they're kind of hoping to have the next kind of Minecraft or something like that. Whatever prompts that kind of seismic shift. Get the indie game developers on board. See what just throw as much stuff up against the wall and see what sticks, right?
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot, like a whole lot of really talented people moving away from big studios. I mean, the first really public one was Inafune leaving Capcom. Well, we saw Ken Levine left, and he's going down to a smaller team.
I was just going to say Levine,
yeah, and Igarashi from Konami, who is responsible for all the best Castlevania games throughout the PS1, Game Boy Advance, and DS era. Like, these were some amazing games. He left Konami because he wants to work on the kinds of games that he wants to work on. He doesn't want to work on big budget titles anymore. These AAA games, I think there's too much of a creativity toll because you can't put out a game that isn't focus tested. You can't put out a game without 100 different departments looking at it and chopping it down to appeal to the lowest common denominator, because you can't break even unless you make 20 million in sales and like 20 million units or whatever. I don't even know. It's just crazy how these big games have become, like, for me, they just can become completely uninteresting. I have no interest in anything that is coming out from like DICE or anyway, any of these companies.
Yeah.
Even Capcom. This was a company that put out so many beloved games throughout the 80s, 90s, even the early 2000s, and now I just don't give a shit about anything with their name on it. So I mean, when you start seeing these big names leaving all of these like big companies and starting to found smaller studios, you got to have an outlet for them. And I think the smart money is on the variety of games rather than trying to pin everything on the single sale of like a major title every year.
Some more on indie games. The folks at Cellar Door want to do another Rogue Legacy. But not yet.
I would be in favor of that.
Yeah,
I'd be in favor of that. Yeah.
Some people consider it a bad habit to work with the same genre twice, but they're entertaining the idea. They might not make an immediate sequel. They might try and get some other games out first and then fire up a Rogue Legacy 2, but I would give them my money for that. I would throw money at the screen and hope it stuck.
You know what I want them to do? Don't shit your pants too.
I
really need them to put that out.
Shit harder.
Yeah, there you go.
I got a couple things I want to talk about for news. How do you feel about Origin?
The platform, the
platform, the EA's
not
store.
great.
How do you feel?
Not so great.
Okay.
Hateful.
Okay. If they gave you some free games, would you like it better?
I would.
Nope.
I wouldn't say no, but they better be good games.
Yeah, keep talking.
Okay. Origin has just started a program that they're calling On the House, where they're going to be giving away games for the low price of having to install Origin on your system.
That's a pretty high price.
It is.
I don't know.
Yeah. The first one that they've debuted this program with is the original Dead Space.
The good one.
Yeah, the best one as far as I know.
Okay.
But you can get that for free, basically just by going to the page and downloading Origin and putting it on your system. And it's the same kind of thing as like the PlayStation Plus right now. They're only going to be free for a certain period of time. But if you download it and basically claim it, then it's yours forever.
Claimed.
So basically, yeah, they're promising they're promising new games every month. So and that. Yeah, that's a new thing that Origin is doing. They're going to be giving free stuff away.
I'm still.
So what do you think?
I don't like Dead Space because that game scares me. Gives me nightmares.
I already own Dead Space, but I could see myself taking advantage of this if something, that I'm genuinely interested in came up.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem I have with Origin isn't so much that it's a bad piece of software. It's actually not terrible. You can configure where you want the games to install. The user interface is pretty snappy. I actually think the UI is better than Steam. But the problem is, like, my friends list is on Steam, and
Yep.
it just seems like it's one other piece of middleware that I don't need.
Yeah, like games for Windows. That
Origin, Origin is way better than Games for Windows Live, and I think it's better than Ubi as well.
Uplay was terrible.
Yeah, Uplay is, oh god, that thing is annoying.
And honestly, I mean, I've been into Origin since Mass Effect 3 basically forced me into Origin. If I wanted to play Mass Effect 3, I had to have Origin. There was no two ways about that. So, I mean, for me, this is kind of a no-brainer. I've already got Dead Space on Steam, but I'll take an Origin key as well.
You already got it. Now you can just get more free games.
My whole issue with Origins and EA in general is every time a big game comes out, don't bother buying it the first 2 weeks it's out because you ain't gonna freaking play it. And it's like it's every time a new game comes out, it's the same thing. And they, it's like, this will work. We don't have any problems. This will work fine. And then it completely crashes, and they spend the next 2 weeks going, well, we weren't expecting this, and we weren't expecting that, and suck it up. It'll work eventually. And it's just like, come on, how many times can you shit the bed before you go, okay, you guys got to learn to stop shitting the bed? That's my big kicker on it.
The thing is, I think they've learned for that. Yeah. They've learned from that. If you look at the stuff they put out for Sims 4, none of that always online stuff is even making an appearance in the next iteration of the Sims games. I think they took a black eye for that one, and hopefully they've learned. Whether or not that sticks around for a long time, who knows? But the always online component and just the launch day woes, I think they've actually learned from that. And I think
hope so.
I think this on the house thing, I think in particular, is sort of an attempt to rehabilitate their image. But I mean, who knows? I thought they were doing that with the EA bundle as well. That was the humble EA bundle was kind of an attempt to put Origin on more machines. But But anyways, if you want a free copy of Dead Space, go install Origin.
If they give me a free copy of SimCity, I might be interested because that's a game I do want to play. But I've just the whole debacle and issues with it have completely put me off and ever wanting to play it. But if they said, hey, here's a free copy, I might not say no to that.
Meanwhile,
but I doubt they're going to. Their top game is not going to be the one that they list on there right away. I mean, that thing's still selling for about $30, I think. So.
Meanwhile, Steam has had some crazy sales this weekend. Square Enix and the Batman franchise were on for some pretty deep discounts.
Squeenix. Yeah.
Squeenix. That's a missed opportunity that they didn't call themselves that.
I know. They should have, absolutely. So we can talk about our topic. I think we should get to our subject.
Let's do this.
All right. So the topic this week is difficult games. Games that are tricky. Go ahead, Nelson. You can introduce this one if you want. Too late. Do you enjoy a challenge? Do you like those super brutal, punishing games? That is to say, Rogue Legacy, Spelunky, etc., or playing other games on super punishing, fuck your face hard mode?
Can you tell I wrote that description?
This is going.
This is great. I love this. Do you like a challenge, or do you prefer more casual, easy on your nerves kind of games, or a little bit of both? Even bullet hell shmups can be discussed. So let's discuss those bullet hell shmups.
I love me some shmups.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny that bullet hell kind of has a reputation for being difficult. I find games like R-Type to be much more difficult than bullet hell games, but but that's besides the point. But fuck yeah, I love hard games. There's something to be said about a game where finishing it isn't just a matter of putting in the time. Like most modern games, it seems like everybody wins.
The win.
Yeah, you get to finish it, whether you're good at it or bad at it, whether you bothered to learn the fucking controls, it doesn't matter. Yeah. There's something to be said about those old school, more arcadey style games that actually have a game over screen when you fuck up too many times.
I'm glad you brought up the game over screen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time. And it's so weird that nowadays when a game has a game over screen, like people are calling it a roguelike. And I'm like, that's totally wrong for one. Half the games that get roguelike attached to them aren't anything like Rogue or NetHack, but
maybe they're roguelike likes.
I found that I'm using the roguelike term incorrectly lately, but anyway, carry on.
But yeah, man, I don't know what happened. It seems like nowadays games are, even games that have harder difficulty settings, rather than actually making the game more difficult, they just turn the enemies into bullet sponges and make the game annoying.
See, that's the worst.
Yeah, like there's a real balancing act that has to go on with difficulty. You have to feel like the game is not playing by different rules than you're being constrained by. Like it has to be fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I think the Souls games do really well, like the Dark Souls, Demon Souls games. There is a very specific set of rules in those games. And if you don't pay attention to them, if you're not patient, and if you don't learn how the combat works, then you're never going to get anywhere in those games. But the enemies are constrained by those same rules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the big things about that game, is that every single thing in that game that you can fight is following exactly the same rules as you are. Yep. And that is super important, because when you get thrown a curveball by the game where suddenly something that you expect to happen doesn't happen, or something just comes out of nowhere, like all of a sudden an enemy has a form of invulnerability that is not indicated, or that you haven't seen anywhere else, and that there was no indication it would happen, like that's bullshit. Yep. When you have invisible walls, or you have enemies that artificially will bump up their difficulty by breaking the rules, that's just cheating the player.
Mm-hmm. That makes me wonder as well with game difficulty, if it's something that us old timer gamers, who started out with NES or even like Super Nintendos and stuff like that, if it's something that we've come to expect and kind of also appreciate, whereas newer gamers, say we're talking late gen stuff, anyway, from like PS2 and whatnot forward, where they're kind of used to getting the wins handed to them.
Yeah,
like I wonder if it's a thing that newer gamers would want versus older gamers, or if it's something that everyone can enjoy, or if it's a specific type of person or gamer that wants these types of games.
I think it has to do a lot with the way the industry sort of started, right? I mean, a long time ago, there were just coin ops, and coin ops were designed with a single purpose, and that was to suck money out of your wallet. Home video games started to become a thing, and they took a lot of the people who had been working on coin-op games and just said, well, you make those for arcades, now make them for home. So the same mindset kind of informed a lot of those early console gaming titles that was present in arcade games, right? Plus, you were dealing with a limited amount of memory, so there wasn't much that could be done in terms of story and game length. So you had to kind of inflate the experience, give people a sense of value. Like if you were going out and spending $60-$80 on a NES cartridge, you wanted people to feel like they were getting their money's worth, right? That they weren't just blowing through the game in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So the difficulty had to be high in order to make people feel like they'd accomplished something and gotten something for their money, right? Plus the development, the philosophy was basically that these are games that were, this is the kind of challenge that people are seeking, because they went from the arcades to home. They wanted an arcade experience at home. So just kind of transfer everything over.
And then there was the introduction of adjustable difficulty as well.
Yeah. Without using dip switches.
Yeah.
I mean, switches.
Yeah. And to the credit of some of those old arcade machines, is it's possible to play a perfect game of Pac-Man. So, that game becomes very difficult as you progress through it. Things get faster. Everything gets faster. The ghosts start behaving like they behave by the same rules, but they're just so much quicker. And you just have to react like instantly. But it is possible to play a perfect game of Pac-Man, right to the point where I believe it crashes when it gets to a certain score.
Kill screen,
Yeah, you get to the kill screen, but you can play a perfect game. Like, there's no way to get a higher score than playing a perfect game in that. And, Donkey Kong is another game that you can kill screen. You can play a perfect game of that.
I learned that from King of Kong.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Great movie.
Yeah. Did you, there was a sequel to that. Not really a sequel. I'll put it in the show notes, but there is a sort of follow-up to that where they, totally off topic, but they look at these people, in a different view, like kind of a different lens, kind of see what their lives are like, and it's pretty depressing.
We can throw that link up on the Google Plus page and the YouTube channel. Just saying.
King of Kong basically killed competitive Donkey Kong, didn't it? Because like so many people saw that and went, "Oh, I can do that." So the record that had stood for like years and years and years was broken like 5 or 6 times, like the year after that movie came out or something like that. Yeah, it was crazy. Anyways, back to the topic. For my part, I mean, you look at my Steam games list. I've got where is it here? I've got 363 hours in The Binding of Isaac. I got the Platinum God achievement in that game, which let me just see. There's
Wow.
Before it was a lot. It was a lot more of a pride thing before, because like there are ways to cheat the game now that allow you to get that. But yeah, it was something like 0.02% of the people who own the game had it, or something like that. I can't remember. I can't find what it is now. I play Spelunky quite a bit. I got like 90 some hours in Spelunky at this point. I enjoy hard games. You know, I enjoy a challenge. I played the Souls games and stuff like that. I think, but you know, it doesn't have to be an either or thing. There are games that scratch the itch for, you know, just like sort of relax and watch a story type of thing. And there are games that you want to conquer. And you know, Spelunky and Isaac are two games like that for me.
Well, even going back to difficulty settings, like I played, what was it, Tomb Raider on easy, and that game was pretty goddamn challenging. I can't even imagine what the game would be like on hard.
Yeah, I played that on normal. I found that that game, while I really enjoyed aspects of it, I think the combat was poorly implemented, which led to an artificially high difficulty level. But I mean, there was a very big difference for me between a well-designed game that's difficult and a game that's just not well put together, and it's hard because your camera isn't working, or it's not responsive, or you don't have the tools you need to do what they're asking you to do. Like that game, I feel like it would be, if it had encouraged you to avoid combat, you know, and not like made you weak and encouraged you not to engage in combat, then it would have made sense that combat was a pain in the ass. But in that game, it forced you over and over and over again into these encounters, whereas you versus 100 guys. And that just seemed like it was antithetical to the overall design of that game.
Well, then there's like Dishonored, which, you know, punishes you if you actually start killing people. Like they really push stealth as your core gameplay, and if you break away from that, they make the game brutally hard.
The new Thief is like that too. It's you will not last long if you try to fight your way out of conflicts, because you just aren't equipped to deal with, like, the average guard will just massacre you. And there's been a lot of hand wringing about that. People seem like that is something they don't like about it, but to me that seems like, well, pay attention to the game's design. Don't expect that you can just do whatever the fuck you want when the game is designed a specific way. I don't try to stealth my way through Contra, because that's not how it was designed.
If you try to stealth your way through Contra, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to kill this guy. Not going to kill this guy. What's going on here?
Yeah. It seems like one of the things I've noticed is that in lieu of real difficulty, and by that I mean something where you have to play over and over again and get better at the game in order to progress. I feel like collectibles has sort of replaced that, where the achievement you would get from, you know, really learning a game inside and out and being able to complete it within the allocated number of lives they give you has been replaced with this, complete it to 100%, because we're going to throw a bunch of really tough challenges in throughout the game. And I'm not sure that I feel that is as fulfilling.
Well, a lot of games don't even give you lives anymore. It's just like you die, you just start out at a checkpoint and continue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, lives is kind of a holdover from the coin-op days too. Like one quarter will get you X number of lives, right? That's meaningless on a home system, because, you know, if you die now, you just start off where you left off, kind of thing.
Well, with Broforce, you get lives.
Yeah.
And if you run out of lives, you fail your mission. Sure, they start you out at the beginning again of that mission. You don't have to replay the entire game from the start, but there is some sort of penalty to it.
Isaac and Spelunky, you get one life.
Yeah.
And if you lose
sure
that,
do.
then you're done. Well, two if you get the Ankh, but that's, yeah, whatever.
Right. I always think it's interesting when you look back at the first gen gaming, and when Nintendo released games to the American market, they actually dumbed it down because they thought we just could not accept a challenge. Like Dragon Warrior and Super Mario Brothers 2 was a dumber game, like a dumbed down version of the game. And then so there's like Demon Souls, which was produced for a Japanese market recently, has been so popular here in North America. So yeah, I think North Americans are hungry for a challenge. I think that you look at these more challenging games that are coming up, including like what's going to be EverQuest next. And now that one's being touted for its difficulty. So
it just makes me wonder what market of people are buying those games. Like, what demographic are buying the harder games nowadays? Like, is it the younger kids? Is it us old timers, or is it maybe a little bit of both?
I'd say both.
Yeah. I feel like Demon's Souls, the Souls games in general, have a pretty wide. They've cast a pretty wide net. You see people from all walks playing that. Maybe it's just a certain type of personality.
Yeah. And that's a newer phenomenon. Like the Demon's Souls was sort of a niche and was sort of underground, and then it got really. I think the Let's Plays really took over, and it just now it's mainstream. You hear it all the time.
I just wonder if like the Call of Duty or Battlefield gamers would be into these types of games.
What's that, Brian?
Go, Brian.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say Dark Souls wide open for them because Demon's Souls was only available on the PS3. That was the only way you could play it. A lot of people had heard of it, but they didn't have a PS3. Then Dark Souls comes out for PC, Xbox, all that kind of stuff. And you see a lot wider acceptance of it and a real hunger for equal to that game after that comes out. So, I don't know. Like I went back to Demon's Souls just to kind of play it a bit because I hadn't played it in a long time. And like, the whole formula, it works really well. And the weirdest thing about that game is when you read any of the interviews about when Demon's Souls came out, they didn't think that game was going to be popular. Like the guy who developed it was basically saying, this is a game that I want to make. I did not expect anybody to actually want to play this because it is punishing. I designed it to be punishing,
Yeah, Miyazaki. Yeah.
Miyazaki. That's right. So, I mean, it was really kind of a lightning in the bottle situation. They weren't developing that to be a kind of a mass market game. This was very much a passion project for the guy, and it just ended up kind of hitting the zeitgeist, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And spawning a whole new slew of challenging games in the process, I think.
Yeah.
I would like to see a return to form. Like I would love to see more games like Contra and like the shoot 'em ups. I think there is a market for that still. I haven't seen a good shmup in a long time. I think the last big release that I can recall was Ikaruga, which was true to form. It was a hard game, but it was it gave you all the tools you needed at the beginning of the game, and had a very simple rule set. You had light and dark projectiles, and you could be in light or dark mode, which would let you either absorb or get killed by the opposing type. And I don't know. I love that style of game. I still play shmups all the time. I have shmups in my library. Like I have a big collection of shoot 'em ups from pretty much every system you can imagine, and I'd say more than half of them I've never seen the end screen of them because I'm just not good enough to finish them. It doesn't stop me from playing them. It just means that it's a game that is going to be played for years to come. I mean, some of these games like Super Contra, you can finish that game in about 20 minutes. Okay, that game took me months to finish though because I had to get good at it. And this is what I was a kid. I picked that game up the other day. And I swear I have some kind of muscle memory because it has been probably 10 or 15 years since I've looked at it. Dusted off the cartridge, popped it in, and I was able to finish it my second run through just off of remembering every little stage. It was incredible, and it was so rewarding to be able to do that.
That's crazy.
And I don't think I'll ever feel that way about something like BioShock, which after playing through, I was like, I'm never playing this again, or BioShock Infinite. Which wasn't hard at all. It was just annoying to play.
Now, what do you guys think of like New Game Plus versus, or also like unlocking harder difficulties when you've finished a game? Is that stuff that like when you guys finish a game, do you want to replay it harder?
No.
Depends on the game.
Like also say Diablo 3. Diablo 3, they have like what are the modes again?
Cow mode?
Nightmare and Diablo mode.
Nightmare and shit like that. Like, I don't know. For me, once I finish the game, honestly, wanting to go back and play NG Plus or whatever. Like, say, for example, Rogue Legacy. I finished it. I was done. I tried a little bit as under NG Plus and realized it was unenjoyably hard. So I put that one to bed. But I wonder what you guys think of it.
I can think of some examples where it was really well handled. Thunder Force 5 for the PlayStation 2, which wasn't the best Thunder Force game, but it had a mode where once you finished it, you could go back and play with the ship from the original Thunder Force, which was a lot harder because it didn't have I think it was the homing weapon or the all range. There was a particular weapon in that game that you would just use the entire game, and that wasn't available to you with the New Game Plus ship, and it made the game very different. It's just you had a different toolbox to play with. The game itself was exactly the same, but the ship played so differently that it was almost like you got two games the price of one. And R-Type Final did this to great effect as well, because you would unlock ships as you played that game, and each one of them was so radically different. And I think there was like 50 plus of those different ships you could unlock, and every one of them changed completely the way you would play that game, even though the game itself didn't change. Yeah. So if you handle it like that, I'd say yes. If it's just the same game, but the enemies are harder to kill because they take more hits, then that's an absolute no.
Brian, Dan, Brett.
Brett.
What are your guys' opinion on that?
Well, if it's a story-driven experience, 9 times out of 10, I can't be arsed to play a New Game Plus, quite frankly. Like something like Tomb Raider or Far Cry 3, I think once I'm done with those games, there's really not much you could do to get me to go back to those worlds.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you on that one.
Yeah, it has to be something that's mechanically rewarding in and of itself to really get me to go back and play it again. Like something like Spelunky, where it's different every time. The same thing with Binding of Isaac, where it presents me with a new experience each time I play. I'll go back and replay games like that. But honestly, most times, if it's a role-playing game or an action RPG or something like that, I really don't spend a lot of time repeating where I've been with those kinds of things. Even something like Batman or something like that, like the Arkham games. Once I've been through those, I don't really have a whole lot of desire to go back.
Yeah.
Yep, same here. Yeah, I don't really feel like. Once I complete a story, and that in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. I hardly ever finish my games, so so that alone is enough. And then going back to it, maybe I would go back to it like a year later on a harder mode. In fact, I was thinking about doing that with BioShock Infinite, just to go back to that world. Yeah, no.
Enjoy playing against bullet sponges.
Right. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Brett. What are you?
I have no opinion on the subject, actually.
Wow.
I don't play little games right now, so I'm kind of
Well, going back to when you used to play regularly, doesn't have to be current.
The game. I can't get I guess if I play the game, unfortunately I get distracted by achievements sometimes. I become a bit of an achievement whore. I openly admit that. I have a problem. My name is Brett. Yeah, so that's why I get worried about playing those games sometimes, especially now. I ain't gonna have the time to play that. So I'm finding when I do play a video game, I'm playing it for the enjoyment, play the story, and then when I'm done, unfortunately that game is done. It's going in the dustbin. Unfortunately, that's created a few situations where I'm so far behind on a series. I've sort of set a rule. I'm not allowed to buy the newer games till I finish the other games. So now I'm sort of stuck and I can't buy new games now. Because
I sort of do the same. Like with Assassin's Creed, I've bought up to 3. I've played halfway through 3, and it's like, I'm not going to buy the next couple until I actually finish it, which will probably be never.
I'm still stuck on Assassin's Creed 2. That's the thing is I never quite actually finished that game, and I know there's Brotherhood and Revelation and Assassin's Creed 3 and then Black Flag, and I really want to play those games, but I set myself the rule: until that one's done, I'm not allowed to play the other ones.
I love Assassin's Creed 2. The ending of that one, you fist fight the Pope.
Yeah, you sure do.
Oh, thanks for giving it away.
Hey, man, you had your chance.
Yeah, no, I want to finish
limitations over.
Statute of limitations, yeah. I'm getting to that point now where I can't go back into games, whereas before I used to, and I try to find out every little achievement, and having that achievement score of over 85% was something big for me. And then I realized how many hours have I whittled away just spending times trying to complete that perfect trifecta to get the achievement, and it's like, oh my god, I'm a fucking loser. So
it was like me with Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Sorry, Brian.
I just thought about this. One thing I have been doing lately is with Civilization 5. I've been playing a lot of that game, and I'm upping the difficulty. Every couple of games I play, I'm bringing the difficulty up by one peg. And I found that to be really rewarding because that game is so mechanically complex that as you learn it, like as you get good at that game, if you stay on the same difficulty level, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have, nuclear submarines fighting against triremes. And it's just that ends up being not very fun. I mean, as funny as it is to see nuclear submarines shooting torpedoes at triremes and galleons, it's not much of a challenge. And that game I find gets more fun as it gets more difficult. There's those nail biting, last century. The last century of the game becomes this nail biting experience where you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull this off or not. And I find with those type of sim games or I don't know what I guess you'd call Civ a sim game.
Sure.
Those types of games, I find that increasing the difficulty because those games have basically infinite replayability. I find that those are ones that actually the gameplay in itself becomes more rewarding as you bring the difficulty level up.
Yeah,
I believe the blanket term for those kind of games is grand strategy games this time.
Grand strategy. There we go.
Yeah.
The problem I found is with civilization games is as you up the difficulty level and you got higher and higher in the difficulty, you'd get to the point in the game where you'd be like, okay, it's my turn to move. And you would literally spend like 20 minutes figuring out, okay, if I do this, how are they going to respond? Okay, if I've got my guy here, I've protected here. Okay, if I move this missile and I attack on this situation, how is he going to respond? It gets to the point where you're strategizing for like 20 minutes, and then you press that button and the guy moves. You're like, okay, the attack worked. Okay, now he's counterattacking. Oh shit, I didn't have enough defense there. Oh shit, that side's falling and stuff like that. And it's like, oh no, it got too hard. And I lost an entire flank or something like that. That's always the worry about upping the difficulty on those games. That's the problem I had, is the higher difficulty I got, I'd make a move that I would normally make in an easier level game and not suffer the consequences for it. And in the higher level games, when you put the difficulty up on Civ 5 or something like that, it would punish you brutally if you made the stupid move. So
Yeah, or the really frustrating thing where you've been building a wonder, you're like, I really want to get the
one away from it, and then you get the
someone else made it.
Oh,
just like no, and then it's like, okay, Egypt, you and I, we're through.
Well, then you all of a sudden target Egypt. You're like, I have to kill you. I want that. I wanted that. That was mine. You stole it.
Sucks when it's Gandhi. It's like you got to declare war on Gandhi.
That's all right.
The problem I found with the civilization games is it always seemed like the people you expected to be, calm and rational people were the crazy ones, and the ones that were, like the Queen of England, I expected her to be slightly rational, but she was always picking a fight with me. And then the Russian chick, who I kind of expected to be picking the fight with me all the time, always wanted to trade with me. And it was just like, this doesn't seem right.
It's always the quiet ones, man. It's always the quiet ones.
Yeah. My problem with Civilization is Leonard Nimoy's dentures rattling around in his mouth. That's my problem. That's my little joke. Conversation killer. Yes.
All right. So going back and thinking of all the, excluding the NG plus and unlocking harder difficulties, what are some games that you guys actually consider difficult or punishing that you actually like to play? Like in my case, I was a huge fan of Rogue Legacy, which caught me off guard. Thanks for that again, Spencer. Luftrausers, that game is actually kind of difficult, and it's fun because it's a pick up and play and then just put down again. Super Meat Boy, I never finished it, but that game was really tough, but that's another one I really, really enjoyed. Hotline Miami, that game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Hotline Miami was brutal.
It was brutal hard, but, there was something about that game that just had me saying to myself, all right, one more game. I got it this time.
Well, Hotline Miami is like a murder puzzle game.
Yeah.
It's basically you have to figure out how to murder people in the precisely optimal manner to get you through from one level to the next. Yeah, that game was brutal. There's a sequel coming out to that too, and I'm really looking forward to that.
You know what all those games have in common? They're all mechanically sound games.
Yep.
The mechanics are simple, they're well designed and well implemented, and they feel good when you're playing them. Mm-hmm. And you have to get good.
I think with difficult games, they have to be mechanically sound because you're bumping up against the mechanics of the game so often. Those are the constraints that are placed upon you. Like in a story-based game, you can forgive it for being a little a little shakier in those regards, right? You might run up against like an invisible wall or something like that, or something in like a role-playing game, and just kind of laugh it off. But if something like that is actually limiting your play of the game, then it needs to be tight. Like it needs to be absolutely nailed down, right? So I think that by definition, the difficult games generally tend to sort of have this kind of Darwinism thing going on, where they have to be mechanically better than games that don't have that level of difficulty.
Now, does FTL fall under this umbrella as well?
I think that game is pretty tough.
It's a tough game.
Yeah,
it's a great game.
Roguelikes in general are kind of they fall into that category where they're difficult because most roguelikes don't have an ending really. Like you play it as far as you can, and death is going to happen eventually. Dwarf Fortress, the whole mantra is losing is fun, because eventually your fortress is going to descend into madness no matter how hard you try. Things are going to go very bad.
But yeah, what are some other games that you guys are punished by but really enjoy?
I guess for me it'd be Shogun 2. I've never been able to beat that game on any of the clans, but I just like going through. The idea of that game is you have to take over the rest of Japan, feudal Japan, and become the shogunate. But I've never been able to just do it like legitimately. I've always had to use some sort of bug on the battlefield or something, because there's just no way to balance your economy with maintaining. Now, the more powerful you get in that game, the more everybody wants to kill you. So it just gets to this point where you just cannot economically play it. But I love those Total War games. So yeah.
Awesome. Anything else?
Yeah, no, Nelson. Nothing else other than Shogun 2.
Shogun 2.
Yeah.
That's a strange choice, but right on.
All right.
How about Brett?
Games that are
difficult games. I know, Brett, that you had a certain fondness for Jagged Alliance.
Oh yeah, well that was Jagged Alliance was that game sucked a lot of my life when that came out. But that was just me, because I wanted to have the perfect mercenary squad of doom that descended upon the village and vaporized all the mercenaries without losing a single man or taking a single wound. And I would restart the level 40 times just so I could get through that area and wipe everybody out without anybody knowing the wiser that I was there. I love that game sometimes, and then other times I probably screamed bloody murder and walked out of the room, because I was like, guy was not supposed to be able to see me there. There's no way he spotted me. My camouflage stealth skill was 100. What the fuck? But it was a fun game. The mods for that game, it got to the point where I was adding all the mods into the game just so I could up the difficulty so it would be more interesting and make the weapons more effective, and making it so it was heavily armed guys facing heavily armed guys rather than guys with 38 specials fighting guys with machine guns. So that game was fun. There was a few mods that came out for it. There was one, I think it was called the Wildfire or Deidreana Lives. I can't remember which one it was. I played that and I threw my hands in the air and went, nope, going back to the original, because this is overtly too hard. And then that Jagged Alliance Back in Action came out, and I think the correct term I used for that was fucking craptacular ass-tacked game of death. I never want to see it again in my life, because the level there's a certain point in a game where I want it to be difficult, but I don't want to feel like I'm getting raped. And that game had a very definite sense of rape in it, because you were fighting the bad guys, and the first few missions you're like, okay, this is going good. Yeah, it's a little hard, we're having some combat. All right, I'm going to go and try to take the mine. Oh, okay, I'm going to send my 6 guys in that are armed with 9mm weapons, maybe one rifle of some sort, and I'm going up against the equivalent of guys in full body combat armor with night vision scopes and Russian sniper rifles, and I've stepped on I haven't even deployed my guys into a position yet, and they're cut to shreds. There was a difficulty level with that game that was unbelievable. It went from...
I remember that one being spiky. It really it seemed like you crossed some invisible lines, and all of a sudden the game changed with that one. Yeah.
So don't play that. You're not playing that one.
No, I wrote a tirade on on the forums, on the Jagged Alliance Steam Back in Action forum, just an absolute tirade. It probably had to be about a page long of how angry I was and how I was so infuriated by that game, by that little feature, because it just was, I was playing the game and having fun, and they just took all the enjoyment out of it, and I couldn't go anywhere. I was having fun, and then it was basically like somebody told me there was no Santa Claus, and it hurt on a deep level. It hurt, and I never went back to the game. I've never played it since.
Wow.
All right.
Still gotta see if Brian and Spencer have some games that they want to run through.
Oh, I've talked about mine.
Okay.
I could think of a few offhand. I keep going back to the Konami games on the NES era. There are some great games that they put out, like Gradius and Life Force, Twinbee, Castlevania. Those games, they're all very difficult, but all very rewarding. You got the Contra games are also by Konami, which again, difficult but rewarding. You have to learn them. You have to memorize what you're doing, and otherwise you're not going to finish them. And I love that style of game. So hopefully we can see a return to form at some point. Yeah, I mean, even Capcom back in the day, the Disney games were no cakewalk, and they were all really mechanically sound games, like Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, DuckTales.
Capcom they had some good games that worked, and then they created a few games that were just frustration factors. I mean, did anybody? I guess probably everybody played Dead Rising. That was one of the reasons I bought an Xbox 360, and I think I played that game for a grand total of 10 minutes. So when I found the Uzi, and I was like, ooh, I can fire a machine gun, and then realized it was easier to hit them with a stick than it was to try to shoot them with a gun.
Yeah, I mean, modern Capcom is a pretty far cry from classic Capcom, though. They're very different companies.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. I'd like to see I'm encouraged to see that there are difficult games coming out now, and we're starting to see a lot of that in the indie space, and to see big titles like Dark Souls 2 getting such attention from mainstream media is really, really encouraging. So hopefully this, I think there's been sort of this trend of super easy, handed to you on a silver platter games. I hope that we see a little bit less of that. Maybe not every game needs to be a super easy, casual first-person shooter like Call of Duty in order to make money.
Here.
All right.
All right.
See you guys next week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
This cake looks good.
You guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
You're coming in clear.
Clear. Holy shit.
Spencer, did you get a new mic?
No, I'm just using a different one.
Oh, okay. No more tin can on a string?
Yeah, I always used to say you were calling in. Yeah. It sounded like you were calling in.
Cell phone set up against a microphone at a abandoned warehouse somewhere. As long as I'm not coughing up blood, or blood isn't coming out of other areas that it shouldn't come out of, and I don't feel sick all the time, I'm going to work with it. It's fine.
Where should it come out of that?
Blood should not come out of the body unless cut. The only time it should come out. If it comes out anywhere else, you should see a doctor immediately.
Okay, guys.
Good night,
podcast. I'm
Yeah.
gonna leave.
Good night, everybody.